The Australian Ultimate League is only possible thanks to the generous support of our major partners. Bendigo Private Banking Services. Visit their website bendigoprivate.com.au to help you manage all your personal or business banking needs. Discraft. The leaders in flying discs for over 25 years. Their Ultrastar is the preferred disc of all World Championship events and the Australian Ultimate League. And Zone Ultimate Custom Sports Apparel. Check out their new range of custom warm-up jackets and pants at zoneultimate.com.
Welcome back to the Australian Ultimate League. It's round 3 and the matchup we have for you today is the battle of the extreme temperatures. It's the Melbourne Flames versus the Canberra Freeze. The Flames equal top of the ladder with 2 wins from 2 against Sydney and Adelaide. Canberra with a win against Perth but a loss to the top of the table Brisbane Breakers. I'm Ewan Weimer and I'm joined by Caro Ma. Caro, as we look at the lineups, what do you think will be the keys to this game?
Yeah, thanks, Ewan. I think we saw in the past matchup with Canberra against Brisbane that they were slightly struggling to get some of those connections down. In this game, I'd really like to see them they've got a lot of club connections with the men and the women, and the women have played Blue Bottles together with Abby Dawson, Maya Suzuki, Caitlin Grange, who's sitting out this game. But I think there's a lot of potential there to get those connections going a little bit more for this game. I'd really like to see that for Canberra.
All right, Joshi had a word with the coaches before the game. Let's hear what they have to say.
I'm here with Liz, one of the coaches of the Canberra Freeze, coming up against the Melbourne Flames very shortly. Liz, since the team has been announced a couple of months ago, how have you found the teams gelled together and got used to playing with each other, I guess? Not everyone's from Canberra.
No, but we've come together pretty well. We've really tried to make a focus of building the team off some solid Canberra connections. So even though we do have some players that don't live in Canberra anymore, they have spent some time in Canberra and they've spent some time playing together. So we see that as a big advantage for us, where we've got some new connections but certainly have a really solid base to work from.
Fantastic. And you're coming up against the Melbourne Flames. They're a star-studded team. Doesn't mean that they're perfect. What weaknesses do they have? What are you looking to exploit?
Look, they are a really strong team, so I think it will be a really big challenge for us. We've been really focusing on, I guess, where we think their strengths are. So we've got Brendan Ashcroft, very fast, so we're going to put Jamin from the team on him, see if we can get a bit of a close speed matchup. Seb Barr will put Carlip on to try and sort of shut some of his movement down. And Kat Phillips, who is also such a dangerous player, will try and get Hannah Mangan on her just to get some sort of big, strong defence on her as well.
Fantastic. Sounds like a pretty solid game plan, and all the best out there, Liz.
Thank you.
I'm here with Chuck, one of the coaches of the Melbourne Flames. Hey, tough matchup against Canberra Freeze coming up shortly. They've been talking about trying to shut down some of your guns like Kat Phillips. What do you do about that?
We're completely fine with that. The beauty of our team and the way that we've built it is that we've got plenty of players. We've got 6 players on the field and we can run through every single one of them. So that's not something we're too concerned about.
Excellent. And you got your core group of players. You've had some players drafted later on. How's the team gelling together? How's everyone fitting in? Have they found their spot in the team, or are you still working that out?
Everyone's gelling together quite well, actually. Everyone's kind of finding their role on the team. Everyone knows it's much bigger than just them. So we're finding that the team's working just really well together, and we're hoping to see that improve every game that we play.
Fantastic. And look, on paper, you're one of the teams to beat. How are you as a coach going with the expectations of maybe, having to win every game?
We're not thinking too much about the expectations. We're just taking every game as it comes. We obviously have a lot of competitive players, competitive coaches, but again, just one game at a time.
Fantastic. Well, all the best for the game.
And we're back with the Flames. They're warming up and heading to the line. We heard there from Liz de Hoog that it's going to be Seb Barr the threat and Carlip Lou probably to take him. Carl Lipp, an excellent handler marker. I think it will be essential for him to have a good game against Bar if Canberra are to do well today. And also the battle of the AFL players. It's Hannamangan, who played for the VFL Geelong Cats in the grand final last week, versus Cap Phillips. Should be an interesting matchup.
Absolutely, and with those matchups, Ewan, we've seen teammates who've actually played together before. So Carlip and Seb on the Melbourne team, heads of state, know each other quite well. That might give Carlip an advantage, knowing sort of how Seb works, and the same with Hannamangan and Cap Phillips playing on a couple of seasons with Ellipsis together.
Thanks very much, Carrie. Yeah, we're back here, and the Canberra team will pull to start. Conditions are not great. Strong winds from the left to the right of screen. Melbourne will be going upwind to start. The first time both of these teams have played in a stronger breeze, so we'll see which one of them handles the conditions best.
Absolutely, and Canberra here with one loss and one win under their belt, so they'll be really keen to snag this against what's looking like could be one of the top teams in this league. Lovely pull there as Prentice goes to retrieve the disc in the end zone.
Melbourne content to knock it around in front of the end zone for a little bit. Oh, Troy Stevenson almost getting the block there.
A lovely D from Carlip Blue there over Seb Bar. That's the matchup we've been looking at.
Outstanding grab there. Seb doing his best to box out Lou, but Lou getting up early and grabbing it away.
Lovely shot there from Abby Dawson to Hannah Monty as she launches to a streaking offender. Can't quite hold it in. Rosa Wang here, one of the few players not from Melbourne, the only player not from Melbourne on the Flames actually.
Phillips there going for a second bite of the cherry and just losing her footing as the Flames shoot for the end zone. And it's Monty with the first goal of the game, and she's excited. Canberra get a break straight out of the gates.
A great look there from Abby Dawson, right into space, and Monty, a very quick receiver, had miles into the end zone. Lovely.
As we see a replay of that grab there by Lou, an outstanding read, really taking that one at his peak. Great jump there from Lou.
Lou, a player originally from Melbourne, recently moving around, had some time in Canberra and currently in Sydney now, so had a chance to sort of develop some of those connections with the Canberra men in particular, and that might give him a bit of advantage for a bit of cohesion on this Freeze team.
And we can see the difference in the pulls there, the upwind to the downwind end. Matthews Hunter with the first one landing in the middle of the end zone and the second one landing about midfield.
Flames, as mentioned by Chuck Lee here, have quite a deep lineup with, as Capital launches a lovely cross-field flick into the end zone, a signature Phillips throw to a pointing Prentice in the end zone. That Phillips to Prentice connection we're going to see a lot of, and that's a real pillar of this Flames offense. As I was saying, we've got a lot of players here that have recently come back from the 2017 World Games team, the highest level of ultimate that you can play, which is mixed. We've got players like Dignam, Prentice, Phillips, Barr, Ashcroft, Regaki. There's a star-studded lineup on this Flames line, so it'll be great to see what Canberra can do here against that team.
Yeah, and always an advantage to have played together at that kind of level. So, yeah, but Canberra coming out with the early break, so we can see how they do.
Regaki, a very strong thrower, able only to get it to the brick mark.
Stevenson's off.
Lovely shot from Dennis there into the end zone for Troy Stevenson. Picking up the goal. We're seeing some lovely movement here from Canberra. I think they're taking great options, moving up through a lot of their players, and I think this is a better start to what they ended that Brisbane game on, so that's really great to see.
Yeah, both teams in the last 2 offensive points doing a good job moving the disc to the stronger side of the field, using handler movement to open up the easier down the line throws.
Yeah, in past games we've seen Canberra go down in a couple of different defensive looks. They've been sort of doing things where they're poaching the lane, doing sort of 2-2-2-1 setups and arrowheads formations and that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of defensive things they can throw at Flames to sort of get them out of their rhythm a little bit. Looks like they're coming down just in match here at the moment.
Lose straight to Barr again.
I think we've got a foul call. I think Monty's leg's just clipping the back of Prentice there as she... Evans shoots. Nice Blady. Oh. And Phillips can't quite hold on to that one. It's coming in quick.
Yeah, that throw has to be inch perfect if it's to come off, and good pressure there from Suzuki, not too far away, making the window reasonably small, and unfortunately Evans not able to complete the throw.
Matthews Hunter, a real central handler in this Freeze offense. Very solid, able to break open the field, and they're relying on him a lot to get that offensive generating going.
Looks like Melbourne, again employing, we've seen so far from them this league, employing a upfield defence or handler defence style, not worrying too much about the gender. As Canberra shoot for the end zone.
Oof. Jez Barron there, just not quite able to hone that one in.
Yeah, in and out of the hands, unfortunately. Not a bad look. Getting a good run at that one, but yeah, Melbourne have an opportunity now to go downwind.
Lou putting a lot of pressure on Barr there, trying to get open. Lovely scuba from Prentice. Maybe a bit of miscommunication downfield in that pass there.
Yeah, you could see Barr streaking deep, had a bit of separation from Lou, who shoots now for the end zone again.
Yeah, we saw in the first few points, both offensive teams looking like they had a bit more composure with the disc, happy to swing it around, take good options, and it's starting to get a little bit frantic with quite a few turns in this point.
And turns even on normally what would be quite a good look, as we see there, Weatherall in space and Ashcroft in a reasonably good throwing position, but unfortunately not able to complete it. The conditions making it very hard for throwers and receivers to read the disc as well.
Yeah, and the structure of this league is that there are very small rosters, a male and female player sitting out in every game. So the players are physically doing a lot in every point in every game. So as the points go on, they get more mentally fatigued and physically fatigued. That decision making can become a lot harder. Ooh, great snag there from Prentice. As Phillips sort of does a little trust throw into Prentice in the end zone there. Getting the job done. Back to twos. Yeah, Ewan, I think having Prentice in sort of the backfield, marshalling the troops a little bit, getting control of the play and the tempo for the Flames is really good for them in this sort of upwind, downwind game. I think she's someone that makes really good decisions and holsters when necessary, but also isn't afraid to sort of air it out sometimes. So I'm loving seeing her back there, and I think that's going to be key for Melbourne to sort of be able to take it out this game.
And we've seen the last two Melbourne Flames scores. It's been quick handler movement from the women that have got into a powerful throwing position, and able to make the score. I love seeing Kat Phillips hit that up the line cut hard. She's so hard to mark. Both times they're getting free and able to open up the Canberra Freeze defence.
Absolutely.
Nice and safe roller pull there from Ragaki.
Freeze are off to the races. Halfway down the field already. Stevenson launches.
It's going to be a jump ball.
Oh.
And Della with the block there.
Yeah, Jamie and Shea sort of had quite a bit of separation starting off that cut, but Stevenson putting maybe a bit too much air on it. And Della, very tall, very athletic, able to get under it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great matchup, that one. I hope we see a bit more of that throughout the game. There'll be plenty of exciting bids as Michaela goes along early and is just underthrown, unfortunately. Mangan able to get the block.
Lovely intercept from Ragaki there. Goes upfield again. Great read from Isherwood. And a lovely, polite throw into the end zone, into space to hit Rosa Wang.
Great work there by Isherwood. Ragaki getting the disc back, and probably not quite exactly the throw that he wanted, but Isherwood able to run his defender underneath it, and a beautiful backhand.
Rosa Wang, a very powerful cutter, able to sort of use lateral space and deepen under space really well. And as you saw, they're able to get away from a defender to be able to, for Isherwood to get that lovely pass in there. Most recently, Rosa Wang was on the bronze medal winning Stingrays under 24s women's team. Valuable member of that team as well.
Melbourne now with the break back, they'll be looking to consolidate that and hopefully break again going downwind. How important do you think the upwind points are here, Caro? What's one upwinder worth?
Yeah, Ewan, I think as this game goes on, as we've talked about, the decision making and sort of the physical fatigue is going to set in. So I think getting those upwind ones are very pivotal, because I think most of the scores are going to be downwind. And particularly in this spot of the field, in the corner where Jamin Shea is picking up the disc, is going to be extremely difficult to get out of. We'll see what Freeze can do here.
Yeah, Shea touching the roller before it went out, meaning he needs to take it from the sideline, and Dignam poaching into the lane, meaning that Up the line throw was not on. Shea having to throw a tough into the wind break throw to the middle of the field, and Melbourne getting the turn.
Yeah, as well as the upwind, downwind breeze, we've also got a breeze going from the commentator's box to the other sideline. So getting stuck on that side, we really need, both teams need to sort of be looking to centre it back towards the commentator's side. Isherwood on the doorstep here, looking for Della in an isolation play. Can't quite get open from Matt Dow. And out of the hands. Yeah, Isherwood sort of signaling to Della, maybe get out of the space when you can. Some great end zone defense from the Freeze here, putting a lot of pressure on. Even as we see Hannah Mangan trying to close that gap between her and Dignam. But a lovely, lovely grab from Dignam in the end zone there.
Yeah, really good pressure from the Freeze. Not able to get the block in this one, but that is definitely the level we've come to expect from these players. A good, clean bid pressure all the way to that throw from Hannah Mangan. Dignam able to reel it in though.
Yeah, Freeze were able to stop their first option of the Della ISO, the second option of the Evans as the field going up line, and just getting that reset.
So Melbourne consolidate the upwinder with another break. 3 in a row for them now. Important for Canberra now to get this downwinder, get back on the scoreboard, get a bit of momentum.
Absolutely. Gaki with a nice roller pull. I think the upwind roller pull might be the way to go to get the meters on this, Ewan. Ooh.
Great pressure from Anderson there on that throw. Not quite able to come up with the block.
Oh, just over the hands of Troy Stevenson. I thought that one might have been on Ewan. Not a bad option. Launching to a 6'5" offensive receiver with separation.
Yeah, and the huck's always, the huck to the middle of the field always a little bit safer than one going to the sideline. So a good look there from Dow, but in these windy conditions, as soon as the wind gets a hold of the edge of the frisbee, it can either push it away or down. So unfortunately, Stevenson just running underneath that one.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a few more of that sort of blade shape, whether that's on purpose or by accident, to get that faster to the receiver. The disc sort of catching the lip of the wind there as Anderson sort of launched that upwind flick.
Yeah, group of players underneath it, it's always very hard who makes contact with who. And I think that probably a fair result there, resulting in a turn.
We've got Wang and Spragg here, Stingray's teammates on the 24s. Freeze on the doorstep. A lovely backhand high release into space. Matt Dow in a paddock.
Yeah, Isherwood looking to come into the lane there and stop the front cone option, but Matt Dowell recognising that the poach was on, and Kim Spragg with a significant height advantage there. The high release backhand able to get it to the back of the end zone for the Matt Dowell score.
Calling the offensive lines for the Flames, we've got upcoming Fire Towers coach, the open age women's team, Anna Rogacki. Having a lot of experience coaching in the past, with barramundies, stingrays, so she'll be sort of inserting her knowledge to give the Flames maybe try and get a bit of an edge here.
Not a bad result there from Matthews Hunter. The disc now on the harder side of the field to throw, and it looks like they might be throwing a quick zone in.
Monty poaching in the lane there, making that first look a little bit harder. The Flames doing a great job to sort of get it back to the centre of the field before launching into some very fast movement. Oh, well read there by Phillips. Great pressure from Abby Dawson.
Great bid by Weatherall there to get that one, pull that one down.
Ashcroft running on a 30-metre cut there, getting the disc in a good position on the doorstep. Flames showing a lot of patience here. Freeze with a lot of pressure, tight match. Oh, and a bobble. I think that's a testament to Freeze's tight defensive intensity there, making the Flames sort of think twice about their options and hesitate on the end zone line, which is great to see. Oh, lovely grab from Barr there, coming off the left hand into space to Phillips. Great composure from Barr, staying calm, surveying all his options as all the Flames people shrink into the end zone and just finding Phillips in that chaos.
Yeah, Melbourne doing a great job working the disc down the field there for the majority of that offensive point with that fast handler movement again. Lots of completions, and then applying hard D when they needed to outside their own end zone to get the turn and the score.
Yes, I spoke recently with Dan Matthews Hunter, one of the handlers for the Freeze, and he was talking about some committee discussions in Fishwick to have trainings where there's a little bit more wind exposure to give them a bit of a different look going into nationals, because as in some places in Canberra there's apparently not as much wind, so maybe that's something that the Freeze are facing here, something that they're not super used to. Mangan threading the needle, going crossfield to an open Adelaide Dennis in the end zone. It's great vision from Mangan to see Stevenson there. And again, we see that lovely high release throw into the downwind end zone.
Yeah, Mangan with a really aggressive forehand there, breaking the Melbourne defense down. When you can switch the play to the other side of the field so quickly and forward, not moving backwards but forward, it really gives not much time for the defense at all to orbit around and apply pressure to the person they're marking. And as we saw in that one, able to hit the break side and get the score from the continuation. Yeah, talking about the win before, alternatively, the Melbourne team's probably reasonably familiar with this field. A couple of teams training at Docklands, including heads of state, so Barr, Evans, Isherwood, and Ashcroft will all be very familiar with this breeze, which is pretty consistent in Docklands.
Prentice having great control over that scuba there, opening up space in such a great way. Wow, that is some great defensive intensity from Freeze there. Great. It was also great composure from the Flames, but Matthews Hunter able to just bait that block and put Freeze back on offense. Lovely grab from Abby Dawson. Matthews Hunter diving to save that one.
And the Freeze working hard up the line here.
Flames not making it easy for them, but Freeze looking good. Oh! Wynn just catching a bit of Lou's lefty flick there and just getting the face of the disc, and I think it was the receiver just wasn't quite ready for the way it came in.
Yeah, Canberra doing a good job squeezing some difficult throws all the way up the line as they get a turn here, a foul, sorry. Suzuki clipping Weatherall on the way through as she tried to get that block.
Lovely around from Weatherall. Got a great combo of Weatherall, Phillips, and Prentice here, but Weatherall just there, not able to hone that one in. It's a tough one going downwind, right at the shins.
Ashcroft airs it out, but just too deep for Phillips, unfortunately. You can see there the throw after it went up going quite high, being caught by the wind, and then at that stage it's very difficult to know exactly where it's going to come down. It can either get a bit more lift and just keep on going, or drop quite suddenly.
Yeah, and with the breeze going sort of right to left as well, it's the tendency to veer left further than you expect is also likely to happen. So, yeah, both teams would be wise to sort of double think about the throws going downwind to receivers running away from them. That's going to be a tricky one for the rest of this game.
And a great job there by Matthews Hunter getting the break off a very tough throw.
Matthews Hunter launches. Oh, and Jez Barron not able to sort of run onto that one.
Yeah, not a bad look there from Matthews Hunter. The Freeze doing a lot of work to thread the needle and generate those 5 to 10 meter gainers until they could get the power position, and Matthews Hunter just launching it a bit too far from Barron.
Prentice, great job to switch it back to the centre of the field there. I think both teams sort of feeling a little bit jittery here, a bit unsure about how to complete throws that they would normally be their bread and butter. So just sort of thinking a little bit more, taking a second to think about the tilt of the disc and where you're releasing it. Matthews Hunter extremely happy there to be able to secure that upwinder. And that was a great offensive possession there from Freeze, showing a lot of control. That fake from Monty, faking the inside flick and throwing the lovely around to 3 open players on the break side.
Yeah, and you can see how much it means to the Freeze. The upwinders are worth a lot at the moment, and that was a good job punching in that goal from a short field. Melbourne taking a timeout to chat about their offense. We've seen so far any throw that comes out quickly and without a set thrower is much more likely to get caught in the wind and be hard to catch or pop up. So all the throwers, if they want to work the disc all the way up the field, will need to make sure their body is set and each throw comes out really cleanly and flat.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think Canberra they were down 2 and have brought it back up to even. So a really great effort there, and I think they'll be riding on that sort of momentum from getting that upwinder. As you can see, they're all really excited after that point. So we'll see if that can sort of carry them through to put a lot of pressure and intensity on this downwind defensive point.
Matthews Hunter checking the wind there, but there's no doubt about it. It is very strong left to right.
Yeah, Abby Dawson in that Breakers game got a really great layout block on defense. So I think using that sort of intensity and fire to get blocks as well as trying to force Melbourne to turn it over will put Canberra in some really good stead here and could get them in the lead. So seeing some big plays from people like Dawson and the other Freeze teammates. A pick as Matthews Hunter sort of runs into Phillips on the way to defending his player. Yeah, we've seen Suzuki on Phillips a lot, as well as the Mangan-Phillips matchup that Liz DeHoog was talking about. Suzuki is someone that does a lot of training to get a lot of conditioning done. I hear she's got a very quick 400 time. I don't know the numbers, but great D from Monty there. Freeze now with the downwind offense. Lou launches. Matthews Hunter can't quite get to it.
Yeah, not a bad look that one from Lou. Matthews Hunter in space, and Lou able to at least give Matthews Hunter a chance and sit the disc up into the breeze, but unfortunately just running away a bit too quickly from Matthews Hunter.
Positionally, that was a good option, and now Melbourne are on their opposite end zone trying to work it all the way upwind again. Well, airs it out. Ashcroft able to pick it up. Whoa!
A great handler mark there by Lou, stopping the backwards and then able to get around and stop the up line with a huge bid. That is massive for Canberra. Short field opportunity to consolidate the break with the downwinder.
Yeah, Lou doing great work there to keep the disc out of the hands of one of their best throwers.
A great bid by Suzuki there to retain possession.
And again, just sort of lifting it out into the end zone. As she released it, looked like it might have been quite a good look. Great cut, great option, but Melbourne have it again on offense. You can see here, players sort of happy to let Barr take his time walking to the disc, set up, take a breath, recoup, and reset to themselves.
Even the game advisor there struggling to throw upwind. No pressure on them, but handing the disc to Bar in the end, the safer option. Launching straight up force there, I think, from Canberra. A good way to try and make Melbourne throw a lot of throws and getting the turn.
Oof. Good offensive passage from Freeze here, looking calm, collected, happy to just move it around, get those 10-15 metre gainers. Oh, lovely grab from Abby Dawson. Launching into the end zone. Oh, and again, sailing out the back. I think that was some great offense from Freeze there. I think if they get it back from Melbourne here, looking to do that again. It just seems like when they go for the big away throw, that's sort of when they're in trouble at the moment.
Yeah, this point now starting to become a pivotal point in this first half. 5-5, the team that gets this next one is likely to take the half. This will be a big advantage, and if Melbourne can go up, win and score, that will be a huge boost for them. Canberra really need to get a block and consolidate their last break.
Yeah, we can see the Flames here starting to figure out a little bit more how to throw in this wind, getting a lot lower, releasing a lot lower, tilting the disc down as they go. Oh, Ogaki tries to save that one but can't. Freeze immediately launches, and again. There's Baron sort of saying, come on, I was there.
Yeah, unfortunately the Canberra receivers could rightly say, if you put it in the back of the end zone rather than out the back of the end zone, I will have a go at it. But
and there it is, there's the block from Abby Dawson that we were looking for. Lovely. Sort of Prentice had her up the line, but then bang, able to get that block.
yeah, that's the second layout up the line block from Canberra at this point. Great pressure around the mark from the whole team.
There goes for the opts for the scuba. There it is. Again, a very happy Matthew Hunter and a very happy Canberra Freeze, able to put that one in. Lou there thinks about maybe centering it and doing the reset to Suzuki, but thinks, nah, I'm going to back Matthew Hunter in with his lofty scuba. And it worked.
Yeah, great work from the Freeze there in the end. The short game getting it done for them and consolidating the break 6-5 now to Canberra.
Yeah, as we've seen over and over again, that corner in that part of the end zone going upwind, and you're not in a great position to get any throw off really. It's very difficult, especially with the pressure and intensity both teams are playing.
Yeah, but Canberra doing a great job when they have the Flames on that sideline, applying huge pressure around the disc and twice paying off with big layup blocks from Lou and Dawson.
Great roller from Matt Dow there. that disc just popping up, trying to go to the weak sideline.
And Canberra with a big opportunity here on a short field to go up 2 breaks into the half. Dow launches.
Oh, intercepted by Evans before Dennis can sort of get any sort of hand on it.
Melbourne again doing a good job, generally playing through the centre of the field. That one in and out of the hands of Phillips, unfortunately.
Yeah, that flick in particular on that side, it's coming quite quickly, and as you saw, just bulleted at Phillips' hand there and couldn't quite hold on to it. Oh!
Wow.
Unlucky there from Spragg. Canberra with a great opportunity there, but just, again, sort of bobbling out the hands.
Wow, that could be a big moment in the context of this game. Melbourne with an opportunity to take half 2 breaks up. Canberra an opportunity to go into half 2 breaks up. Melbourne now an opportunity to draw level.
Great grab from Weatherall to save that disc. Yeah, we're seeing some nice sort of short ball movement from Melbourne, just resetting the disc, not going for too much, taking those short options. Oh, a great shot from Barr, threading the needle. Isherwood now on the doorstep. Just puts a cheeky one in there to Evans, wanting to end this point.
Yeah, Isherwood doing a good job marshalling the traffic there, showing Evans exactly what was on the table, and then able to get the score.
So using his body to sort of box out Stevenson, making it a little harder for him to get that block on Evans. 6-all.
Yeah, real missed opportunity there from Canberra, having 2 short fields, generating blocks, but 2 times having a shot at the end zone, and unfortunately in the tough conditions just not able to bring it down. As it is, they'll still have an opportunity to go downwind and take half 1 break up.
Yeah, I think players now just sort of have to, as we've said a little bit, just think a little bit more, especially about their catching and their throwing and setting themselves. So we saw Phillips there and Spragg, 2 very strong players, strong receivers, and sort of the wind and the way that the game is going right now, we might just need to think a bit more about certain skills, adding to that sort of mental endurance and mental game.
Yeah, Spragg and Phillips well known as having some of the safest hands in the game, so if things are tough for them, they're incredibly tough for everyone.
Matt Dow surveying his options, knows it's a really important point. If Canberra get this, they've beaten the Flames to half.
Keeping them active on the mark as Mangan airs it out.
Whoa.
And Della up early with the block.
Very rarely have I seen Thomas Della lose in an aerial contest, Ewan, I'll tell you that. Oh, Riaki tries to send it upwind to Ruby Anderson, but floats out of bounds before she can get there.
Good 1-2 handler movement into the power position. Ishwood clamps down now.
Oh, lovely throw from Troy Stevenson to a streaking Adelaide Dennis. And decides to back Jamin Shea in and sort of do a cheeky little one into the end zone. Yeah, I think we've seen both teams on the end zone there. Maybe a lot of those throws, maybe sometimes they wouldn't do, but I think having those opportunities downwind and just getting them is great. Yeah, Ewan, so I think we saw in that half that working at upwind, both teams seemed to have the most success when they were sort of getting those shorter passes, moving it around, and when someone would decide to launch it, it would take the lip of the disc and go out of bounds, or it would blade and turn over. So I think going upwind seems like the way to go is using those shorter passes.
It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? When you're going upwind, it's so much harder to throw, it's harder to catch, but you have to throw so many more passes to consistently score upwind. So, as you said, I think the teams that can do that best will come away with the win in this game.
Yeah, alternatively, I think, as we saw there, Canberra in particular in that point, having a lot of turnovers, trying to throw long to a streaking receiver running away from them. So, and we know that there are people on Canberra, Lou, Matthews Hunter, Dow, Stevenson, they like to sort of air it out a little bit, and they have very athletic women to receive those throws. But I think sort of taking the time to adjust and maybe looking at how can I throw this throw in a different way without changing our style, because it obviously is working on some level because Canberra are up at the moment.
Yeah, as we have a look at the stats, you can see the completions there from Melbourne, a much higher throwing rate and a much higher percentage. Sorry, not a much higher percentage, a slightly higher percentage. That handler-driven offense where they've been trying to center the disc early into the middle of the field and then go up the line, have someone else fill and go up the line again. We've seen it a couple of times, and early on getting a few goals from that one. It's been working reasonably well. Do you think that's the look for them in the second half?
Yeah, I think both teams do have a plan here. I think at the moment it looks like it's execution errors that are letting both of them down. As we see though, Canberra has got 10 blocks, which is more than Melbourne's one. We had Lou and Dawson both getting those great up the line blocks on their handler. And so I think there's at the moment we've got a little bit more defensive intensity in the Canberra side, especially when we saw Melbourne on offense going downwind in the end zone. Canberra were clamping down and putting a lot of pressure on Melbourne there.
Yeah, that pressure generating blocks and giving Canberra short fields to work in, which is very important in this kind of wind. Not having to string together as many throws to get the goal is a huge advantage. So applying pressure strongly at all ends of the field really is going to be key for both teams in getting breaks and winning this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that pressure is also translating into, as you can see here, Melbourne have got 6 drops to only Canberra's 3. So I think that intensity and pressure and being really tight on their hip is maybe leading to a bit of hesitancy and Melbourne thinking a bit too much about a few things. Yeah.
And finally, as we look at the throwing ratio, you can see on the Canberra side, 35 to 51 male throws, probably reflecting the Dan Matthews Hunter, Dow and Lou predominance behind the disc, where with the Flames we can see 50 female throws to 63 male. Weatherall, Phillips and Alex Prentice in particular getting a lot more of the disc, moving it through the middle of the field.
Yeah, and we've seen sort of Canberra is using their women a lot in the middle area of the field, so getting a lot of undercuts and sort of generating through the middle after the male handlers moving around. So I'd like to see more of that.
As we see the Canberra Freeze coming out of the huddle, they'll have an opportunity to go upwind on offense and consolidate a bit of a gap. Very tough, but having a halftime break to talk about how you want to approach the upwind point, a bit of an advantage. Isherwood with the ball.
Yeah, I think sort of Jez Barron and Matt Dow looking at each other there and being, maybe we'll just let this go out and wait to take it up at the front of the end zone. Don't want any chances. Canberra looking like they're setting up in somewhat of a horizontal stack.
What do you think about the Horo look going upwind? Do you think that makes it easier to throw into deep space that's not too deep?
Dow launches in front and there's a turnover. I think the Horo space, because it's 6-on-6, leaves a lot of room for each offensive cutter to work with. So I think that makes the defense think a little bit more and have a bit of a different look. So I think going from Horo, switching to Vert, just keeps the defenders on their toes.
As we saw, Isherwood try and thread the needle down the line and hitting Cap Phillips in the hand but not able to bring it in. Melbourne looking to clamp down on their defensive end.
Here's that tricky corner that we've been talking about. Spragg walking up, looking confident. Oh!
Massive block there by Isherwood, doing a huge job, reading the play so well there, seeing where the throw was likely to go and getting across, just getting enough on it to spoil that. Runs a quick 1-2 and the score to Dignam, very polished.
Yeah, that's great, quick, smart movement from the Flames there, straight away. Ewan, I think we've seen a turnover after almost every first pass in that corner so far in this game. It's really tricky and it's asking a lot from that handler who's picking up the disc.
Yeah, so it will be very important for both teams. Can they work out a strategy to get the disc off that sideline quickly and early, give their cutters an opportunity to move in flow and in space and exploit what the other team's giving them. You can see there Isherwood talking to his Flames teammates about what throws are hard, what are easy and where we want to clamp down.
A lot of airtime on that pool. All the Flames defenders already on their offensive marks. Great grab from Mangan there, centering to the field. Beautiful. Great composure from Shea to put enough lift on that to put it to Dennis's advantage. And there was two Freeze players there, Spragg in the area as well, so great option.
Yeah, Canberra for a moment looking like they might be stuck on the far sideline, but Monty doing a great job getting it to Mangan, who did a great job bringing it in, and that meant they were able to work down the break side of the field. And Rigaki there trying to rev up the troops before she heads to the sideline.
Yeah, I think we saw some great offense there from the Freeze. I think they'll be feeling pretty confident, pretty good, a lot of trust within their team. So hopefully they can keep that momentum going if they want to keep this lead. Lou again on bar, just doing a great job. They're trying to keep him out of the game. Great use of centering and getting it into the other side of the field. Oh. Lovely offensive passage there from the Flames, showing a lot of composure, a lot of confidence, calm, and happy happy to move it around and reset it within the team.
I love the cut from Prentice to the up the line that actually almost opens up both sides of the field as the mark sees Prentice is striking hard and maybe even receives the call. That actually opened up the around throw, which then means that the Flames can exploit the other side of the field. So hitting that space hard, doing a really good job for the Flames, being able to open up both sides of the field.
As we see, Flames' defense here filled with the very tall statured men of Rigaki, Isherwood and Della, and the very tenacious defenders in Wang, Anderson and Dignam. See what they can do.
Yeah, Canberra have been going for, they've been throwing a few hucks going downwind, so Melbourne's stacking the height category so they can get under anything that will float.
Yeah, that throw from Shane not necessarily to the advantage of Dennis there. Two very tall men in the end zone. Probably lifted a bit more and veered a bit more left than he wanted it to.
As soon as I say that.
Yeah, that's what the Melbourne Flames want from their defensive unit for the rest of this game. Get under anything that goes up.
We've got an interesting offensive setup here with a sort of two-person stack closer to the disc and Wang and presumably Anderson on the wings. So maybe stretching the space, giving the cutters in the middle of the field more room to work. Della launches. Oh, great D and heads-up awareness from Stevenson. Getting a few extra meters on that roll, macking it down the field.
Yeah, Stevenson doing a good job there to close the gap. Isherwood had a few yards on him, but the throw just slightly short, and Stevenson able to close the gap and get the block.
Great take from Kim Sprague there. And Megan looks at her options, decides, I've got Dowell and Sprague in the area, air it out, and hope that they have the advantage. Sprague on Wang there, pretty good for an aerial contest.
Yeah, Dowell and Sprague versus Rosa Wang there, so...
Tough ask for Rosa.
As we start to enter the final third of this game, Canberra have a pretty big opportunity here. If they trade out with all their downwind offensive points, they'll win this game. What does that do to you mentally for both teams? So if you're on the Flames and you know now that you really have to score every downwinder and then get a break in order for your team to win, how do you feel as you're lining up on the offensive line?
Yeah, I think it just goes back to all teams here have quite a small roster, and it's just about developing that trust and trusting that every player in your team will do their job and is doing their best, and that the connections will come, and that following your team plan you'll be able to get the job done. And I believe that the offensive line here, Flames, they're probably not worried. They have a lot of confidence in themselves and will be able to back themselves to get the jobs done.
Yeah, great throw there from Prentice to thread the needle to Evans, who unfortunately just wasn't able to find Ashcroft. Melbourne still playing that short ball and giving themselves opportunities for the goal, but unfortunately not able to come up with it that time.
And here it is, the danger corner, where Lou is going to pick up the disc and sort of survey his options. This is a tricky part that the handlers have been struggling with.
As you walk to this line here, you know I can't put it more than 20 metres up the line. What am I going to do here to get it off?
Lovely around. Oh! And the pressure there was on Maya Suzuki to get that swing on, and it's tough. It's a really tough throw, and Melbourne capitalised on that turn. Yeah, actually, to that point, before the previous one there, Melbourne did that interesting setup with that two cutters in that vertical stack with Isherwood and Dignam, and then Wang and Anderson stretching the backfield, and potentially that's a good way to get less defenders in that area, to give that thrower more room in that corner, and also the cutters more space to work the area, because it's very tough to get it out of that zone. So maybe Freeze might look to change their offensive strategy when they're stuck in that corner, but I think Lou getting that quick around off to Suzuki was the right idea, just unfortunately couldn't complete after that. Yeah, we've got Ruby Anderson, one of the young up-and-comers here. She's only been playing for about a year and a half and has already been able to play world clubs with Ellipsis and is in a draft pick in the inaugural Australian Ultimate League. So it's really great to see some young athletes coming up and getting a good exposure to the sport.
Dowell on Ragaki, a matchup we've seen for probably about 15 years with the Chile and Faculty then Colony matchups at national level. Now in a new arena in the Australian Ultimate League.
Yeah, it's great to see some people that have been in the game for a long time still leading the charge and able to compete at such an elite level. Lovely quick release there from Ragaki.
Yeah, great 1-2 option. We can see no Melbourne Flames cutters really in sight. That is going to make it tough to hit that up the line throw.
Yeah, the Flames, you can see, putting a lot of spin and low release on their throws. Really effective in going upwind. Ashcroft, Isherwood and Ragaki in the backfield here, trying to get some offensive movement going, and Ashcroft can't complete that throw to Dignam.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. They were doing a good job up until that point, working the disc, not afraid to lose a couple of yards in order to keep possession, but unfortunately not able to hit the big around.
Jamin Shea airs it out to a streaking Spragg.
And that shows the difference in the offensive styles and how hard it is going upwind. Melbourne to go upwind to that point, probably 15 throws, and Canberra to go downwind to the same area, just one to the centre and one throw to the end zone.
Oof, uncharacteristic there from Ashcroft. Oh, Jamin Shea, inside out backhand. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was necessarily the best option in that scenario. Tom Ragaki, large frame, long limbed, right in the area where Dow was. And right after you say Melbourne have worked it up in the small ball throws, Ragaki decides to launch. Lovely inside high release there.
And a great grab by Dennis there, with Ruby applying a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's that downwind that sort of hits your hands and you just can't quite hold onto it for that one. Wow, a great throw from Isherwood there, finding Wang all on her own. Oh, great grab.
Huge goal there as Wang
Takes a well-deserved break, huffing there. Ragaki hugging her, being like, thank you. Great job in that point.
And that is a massive point for Melbourne. now all the pressure on Canberra to go upwind in order to stay with them.
What a great throw from Isherwood there.
Yeah, that's the second time we've seen that backhand upwind really break down the Canberra defence.
There's to Wang as well, so it's the Isherwood-Wang connection.
As Canberra take a timeout and have a little chat about the challenge facing them now, they'll know that the onus is on them now to go upwind and score in order to get the win. Do you think they stick with the huck and look for the big tall timber to take it down, or do they try and emulate the Flames with the small ball?
Yeah, I feel like we haven't seen a lot. The Flames have been using a lot more short ball moving upwind, but a lot of their offense has been going downwind as they've just taken the shots and getting the early block a lot of the time and then just putting it into the end zone. So for sort of placement on the field, that maybe that long throw, and even if it turns over, making Melbourne sort of work really hard upwind might be the strategy, and maybe they're happy to do that. But I think going upwind, we've seen a lot of great passages of offensive play from Canberra, so I think they can do both, and they're happy to sort of adapt to what the situation is.
So applying D in high up in the field, a really strong pressure around the disc, going to be key to try and give yourself a short field to get the break.
We've got Ragaki on this line, which he has been predominantly playing defense, maybe using him to get that massive pull again. And we've got Phillips and Barr, who have been predominantly playing offense, so switching it up a little bit in this stage of the game.
And the big bladey pull, well fielded by Suzuki.
Oh
and
my
a
goodness.
big collision there.
Yeah, not too sure about the contact on that one.
Thomas Stella going full speed into his heads of state teammate, Carlip Lou.
Lou taking a second to sort of make sure he's all alright, but I think no malice there. Oh. Over the top of Abby Dawson, couldn't quite hold on to it. Tough ask from her.
And Ragaki doing a great job centering the disc early to Prentice, who finds Phillip for a 10-metre gainer. And that Prentice, Phillips, Weatherall connection again, doing great things for the Flames on offense.
Absolutely. Either Weatherall, a New Zealand import, recently played with Ellipses for the World Club Championship, so it's a really great connection, O-line connection with Prentice and Phillips, and we're seeing that on the field here today against Canberra. (9-11). This is the first sort of 2-point lead in a little while. Canberra here more than capable of holding their downwind offense, so let's see what they can do.
Yeah, Melbourne scoring the last 3. The pressure will definitely be on the Freeze now to convert this downwind score and stay in the game.
Great pick up there. Beautiful that was a great shot to Jamin Shea. He's not happy about that, but that was a lovely cut, great option.
Yeah, a great throw as well, a difficult throw, and Shea just in and out of the hands. He'll be disappointed with that one.
Ooh. Yeah, interesting there. I think Bar was quite deep in the end zone. Maybe Melbourne getting a little bit frantic, a bit unsure about what to do next, so great pressure. And again, the high release backhand. Canberra Freeze, good friend of Canberra Freeze right now, sort of going downwind that high release backhand. Great work there from Sprague.
Yeah, Della there, committed to the dive, but Dow already had a yard of space and able to pull that one in.
So again, we saw Freeze turning it over in close to their end zone. Melbourne struggling to get the meters upwind and getting the turnover, and again, Freeze able to convert.
Yeah, that short field, a real advantage. Which makes this upwind pull a little bit more important. If you can land it in the final third of the field and apply significant pressure, that is going to be a big advantage, and Canberra need something here to get the upwind break and apply some pressure to the Flames. And a good pull past the brick mark, a great pull actually.
Great undergainer there, getting a lot of meters for the Flames, breaking open the field, and they're off and running.
Oh, Ashcroft there actually looking for the around all the way to the other side of the field and just needing to wait one more second for Phillips to clear the area as a big put goes up and Isherwood gets up early and smacks it out of the air.
Yeah, it's a big ask for Dan Matthews-Hunter there on Isherwood to grab that one. But here's what we were talking about, Ewan. This could be the short field turn upwind for Freeze if they apply enough pressure. Dawson looking like she's either in the lane, maybe poaching off her player just for this, the first pass, or potentially more.
Yes, the arrowhead zone it looks like for a few, and now the Freeze have switched to match. Matthews-Hunter's picking up Ashcroft.
Oh, great grab there from Isherwood, I believe.
An absolutely clutch grab by Isherwood, but unfortunately sending it deep and out the whole way. So that will come back all the way up the sideline to where Isherwood threw it.
Yeah, I think he had the right idea there. Weatherall in a paddock of space. He had the right mind to release it low, put a bit of upper lip on it, but unfortunately just that wind pushing it left of the field outside.
Yeah, and actually a bit of tactics could have been involved in that one. A turn inside the field would have been not a bad result for Melbourne. As it is, Canberra have an opportunity 15 metres outside the end zone. Matthews-Hunter in trouble. Great job getting it to the centre of the field.
Good spacing from Suzuki there. Forces a hammer. Monty on the doorstep. Oh, that's a great look there. I think that is, yeah, that's in. Suzuki there, her dump wasn't really able to get open. Thinks, I'm just sort of going to throw this to the advantage of one of my teammates. And Hannah Monty, a great option, very quick, fast receiver. And Canberra have done it, scored an upwinder.
And Canberra rushed the field. Jono Holmes there doing the penguin for the Freeze. That is a massive goal.
That hammer there, Matthews-Hunter just really putting a lot of oomph behind that, maybe making up for the lack of Jono Holmes on the field for this game.
Yeah, Matthews-Hunter having to put everything in it to get to the other side of the field. Yeah, Suzuki, a high stall count, but able to find Monty streaking into the open side of the field. And that a very important goal in the context of this game. We've seen both teams struggle a bit with their upwind offense. Melbourne now with it all to do, and Canberra will be looking to apply some ferocious D down the far side of the field and get an early turn to consolidate this break. Melbourne doing a good job moving it quickly, and Barr hustling after that one to make sure that he was there to clean up the scraps. Great work from Barr.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of switching upfield from Canberra, potentially causing a bit of chaos and making the throwers sort of have to think about what option they're throwing to, which is great. As there's a foul on the throw.
Melbourne with a good opportunity here, 15 metres to go, and a big break throw from Regaki. That was wonderful to Barr.
Lovely throw into space. Barr's pretty happy about that one.
Yeah, that is a massive goal, and that is the first upwind goal with no turns. That is clinical offense from the Flames there. That is a huge goal.
Yeah, the Flames looked really calm and composed there, and able to just move it around and find the open option in space, and I think that was really great. Sun's looking a bit better at the moment. Maybe they've just got a better feel for how to throw in these conditions.
Yeah, Regaki, that big 6'4" frame, so hard to mark. You almost have to choose whether you want to take the around or the inside. Able to get a big break inside to Barr, and then a bit of handler movement, and Ashcroft hitting the front cone at speed. Melbourne now with a big opportunity here to score to win the game downwind.
We've got that line of tall male defenders and very tenacious female defenders for the Flames, and we're in that really tough corner. Matthews Hunter has a lot to do here.
Yeah, Matthews Hunter, not the tallest player on the Flames, and Thomas Della, 6'3", he's a big guy. He'll be applying all the pressure he can on this mark.
Great inside from Matthews Hunter there, and a block.
Dignam with the block, and Isherwood cleaning up the scraps. That's wonderful D from the Flames.
Lovely. Phillips extremely happy to end the game on that one.
And that is massive from the Flames there. That game, there were swings of momentum all the way through. Could have gone either way, but the Flames there, just clinical offense and hard defense right at the death.
Yeah, I think Canberra applied a lot of pressure and a lot of intensity in a lot of the parts in those games. I think they should be happy with the way that they've pushed one of the Melbourne now 3-0 in this league, one of the top teams to within 2.
So that's it. Melbourne Flames take out this one in very difficult conditions, 13-11. Tune in next time to see the Brisbane Breakers versus the Perth Power. Thanks very much for joining us.
The Australian Ultimate League is only possible thanks to the generous support of our major partners. Bendigo Private Banking Services. Visit their website, bendigoprivate.com.au, to help you manage all your personal or business banking needs. Discraft. The leaders in flying discs for over 25 years. Their Ultrastar is the preferred disc of all World Championship events and the Australian Ultimate League. and Zone Ultimate custom sports apparel. Check out their new range of custom warm-up jackets and pants at zoneultimate.com.